I think we are all familiar with the seven deadly sins: lust, greed, envy, gluttony, wrath, sloth, and pride. The sins that would damn you into eternal hell by our loving, manipulative father eventually. But that is not our cup of tea. I prefer coffee anyway. And on the speak of coffee, I personally have lust for coffee, like people have lust for power. Without it in the morning, I don't function. But to Daddy God, that isn't an enough of a sin, so not depicted as much in art. Don't worry, baby, you are the biggest sin of them all to me. But on the other hand, what is depicted is the normal mundane lust, the one where there is a man lasting over a woman. For in a very small number of paintings, like this of Apollo's, the woman is the one simping. And what is more resembling of lust than Pompeii, the city that literally someone from saw lava coming toward them, but all they had in mind was this. But yeah, Pompeii don't just get its fame from the tragedy that happened there, but also gets it from Pompeii's frescoes. The marvelous frescoes that truly hold into the characteristic of the city, full of erotic scenes like this one of a couple doing couple things, or this one of an I mean a multiple people couple doing multiple people couple things. But what is that? With greed being the thing that we as humanity were warned not to follow, it is what today's society is built on, saying it is just human nature. While there really isn't anything as human nature, we are as human the product of everything we have been through. And why humanity is seemingly getting more greedy in the capitalist society we are living in today. And this really shines with the worship of Mammon that Evelyn de Morgan made in 1909, so not too long ago. It offers an image of the figure of Mammon, the personification of wealth, greed, and excess, depicted as an idol enthroned on piles of rich fabric and holding a wool bundle with an outstretched arm, referring to keeping the wealth away and the difficulty of achieving it. This guides us to the second element of the painting, the worshipping woman desperately gripping around the statue's knee, her longing gaze bleeding with the unyielding face above, falling in love with Mammon himself, which, as we already established, represents greed, more than she falls for the money, as she doesn't reach out to the bundle actually, which even when far isn't out of reach. This can also be enforced on with a look at the way she is clothed in. She is wearing a very expensive silk tunic, not something that peasants can afford easily. Money wasn't a problem to her. It's now her greed that is behind the wheel. Envy as a human trait has been here the longest, going back to Abel and Cain. And who again caused it? Yeah. Envy not only destroys oneself and their potential, envy kills, but it also destroys community and makes you fall more into your delusions, makes you fall into victim mindset. It consumes your soul, and no painting in my realm of knowledge showed that meaning better than Jacques Delang's painting, An Old Woman Holding a Heart, or Envy. It's a profound portrayal of a complex emotion, as envy on its own can be broken down into its elementary elements: anger towards self and other, shame and self-doubt, which all can be traced back to one word: inability. The painting belongs to a series of work that explore the seven deadly sins, but for the sake of your time and my sanity, we're focusing on this one for now. Tell me down in the comments if you want an episode about the rest, and while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe. As for the painting, it is a depiction of an old woman holding a heart, which in itself symbolizes the consuming nature of envy as an emotion, a desire for something possessed by another. The heart she holds could represent the coveted object of her envy, a symbol of what she longs for but doesn't have. The choice of an old woman for envy is intentional, to say that it isn't confined to youth. It can persist throughout a person's life. It is an emotion that can endure and affect individuals across their lifespan. The wrinkles and aged appearance could symbolize how envy can consume individuals over time, affecting them deeply, damaging their souls. The contrast between the woman and the devilish version of her and their expressions shows you what Jacques Delang aimed to show, illustrating how it can distort one's emotion and thoughts, even when they are on the outside, smiling. Gluttony is, unlike other sins, has been reverted to men on the sinometer, as it mostly nowadays doesn't affect others much as it affects the person themselves. And in an individualistic society, that is not a thing to worry about. But gluttony to oneself is destructive and very, very dangerous. And George Emmanuel Opez in the painting de Völler depicts that sense, with every eerie feelings there is to it. The face expressions that you see coating the faces of the painting are distorted, giving you a feeling of unease. The man who is being served as an aristocrat that does have a lot of food but never gets satisfied, never feels full, always wants more, being the sweets in his case. But what is more revealing of meaning here is the scene of the dogs. Ever heard of the say that pets get the nature of their owner? The small aristocrat dog here, with his whole full, refuses to give any to the other bull doggo, influencing the idea of gluttony. Did you ever get across the TikTok sound that goes, "Kings have honor,
soldiers have bravery, and poets have heart, but all I have is
good times"? What is more important here is the feeling in the word rage. Take that, double it, and add hatred and vengeance to the mixture, and here you go, rap. Wanna see it? This is Medea about to kill her children, getting revenge at her husband like MHA all emo girl's perfect boy Todoroki's mother. That is rap. And like her, Medea here is seeking vengeance on her unfaithful husband Jason by murdering their children. Her expression reveals the tumultuous storm of emotions within her, complex blend of maternal love for her children, the searing pain of betrayal, and an overwhelming desire for retribution. Her kids are afraid of their destiny, as if you can't see how blinding wrath is already, Eugene here puts shadows on her eyes. She is blinded, and she is gonna do it. Sloth, just like the animal under its name, is being lazy, but not just any lazy. Lazy. Like destroy your life lazy. And no, you're not falling for the sin of sloth when you rest your burdened body for the weekend. As for sloth, it wasn't depicted as much as the other sins throughout art history, and I don't blame them. It is kinda hard. You can't embody sloth like you embody the other feelings. It's a continuous act. No, absolutely you could have. Like the painting we talked about in the envy section, the longevity of it is shown in the texture, and you have much element that you can play with to emphasize the feeling. You can use supernatural creatures, contrasting light, the wrinkles trick with baggy eyes. Tons and tons could have been done, but the art world fell sloth towards sloth apparently. So, remember these bad boys? Yeah, we're going back in. You can take from here. Okay. The painting presents a compelling visual narrative, capturing the essence of it, with a posture and demeanor that execute an extreme state of inactivity and disinterest. Long masterfully captures the man's lack of energy and motivation, effectively symbolizing the sin of sloth, which is traditionally associated with traits like laziness, idleness, and a neglect of responsibilities. One can discern the subtle details that contribute to the overall narrative. The slumped posture and relaxed limbs communicate a profound sense of physical and mental inertia. This choice of representation served to emphasize the gravity of the sin being depicted, inviting you to reflect the consequences of allowing such slothful tendencies to dominate your life. Lucy, my old friend, the former golden child, the rebellious son and the light bringer, the universal sign of pride, the one who failed then fell from the skies and its silver city, the most depicted sin and the ruler of them all, the first sinner, and I couldn't find a representative of what pride can do to someone, especially when broken, such as the fallen angel, as here lies the perfect body and how Alexander Capanel could have ever embodied, with his closed wings representing his inability, and the anger look on Lucy's face. The eyes itself are telling a very special story, how we can represent furious face anger just using eyes. You can feel the sore throat and a held scream asking to get out. It is pure rage and shame that you can feel upon looking at them, to an extent that it became the representative of these feelings in the art world. And then we can shift our attention toward the dying and broken plant under Lucifer. It represents Lucifer's pride, as it was shattered after losing the heaven wars. Looking up shows us that will always be above him the other angels, mocking him, looking down at him. He's broken now.